In this video, we're going to cover the basics of inequalities, so we'll take a look at what all the different symbols mean, and also how to represent inequalities on a number line. Let's start with the symbols. If we look at this expression, it means that x is less than 10, so x could be 9 or 8 or 3 or -4, basically anything that's less than 10, whereas if we had this expression, this one means that x is more than 10, so a number like 11, 12, 50, or 200. The thing that students normally find hardest about this topic, though, is just remembering which symbol is which. So one way that might help you remember it is remember that the less than sign looks a little bit like an L. So L for less than. And if you can remember that, then you know that the other sign, which doesn't look like an L, must be the more than sign. The next thing we need to look at are these two symbols, which look pretty much the same as our less than and more than signs, except they also have these horizontal lines underneath them. The straight lines basically mean or equal to, so this first expression means that x is less than or equal to 10, so as well as being numbers like 983 or -4x could also be 10 itself. Similarly, the second expression means that x is more than or equal to, so again the number might be 10 itself or any number bigger than 10. Another important thing to know is that when we take an expression like x is less than 10, that means exactly the same thing as 10 is more than x. In both cases, we're saying that 10 is the bigger value and x is a smaller value. We can also use negative numbers with inequalities. For example, x is less than a -5 means that x can be any value smaller than -5. For example, -5.5, -17, -100, and so on. Whereas if x was bigger than or equal to -5, then it could be -5 itself or anything bigger like -2, +2, or +50. The last thing we need to cover are inequalities like this, which contain more than one inequality sign. The signs work in exactly the same way, though. So this one just means that 3 is less than x and that x is less than or equal to 7, or in other words, x has to be between 3 and 7. So if we were told that x is a whole number, then x must be 4, 5, 6, or 7, because remember, it can't be 3 itself because 3 is less than x, but it can be 7 itself. You also need to understand how to represent these inequalities on number lines. So for this one, if we look at this number line of 0 to 10, x must be somewhere in this region between 3 and 7. So we put little circles above the 3 and the 7. The important bit, though, is that because x can also be equal to 7 itself, we need to color in the circle on the right, which tells us that x can be 7, whereas because x can't be 3, we leave the circle above 3 empty. Let's have a go at one more. So for this question, we need to show the inequality -3 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 4 on a number line. So if we draw a number line from -5 to +5, then we can put little circles above the -3 and the 4 and join them up with a line. Then the last thing we need to do is check if we need to fill in either of our circles. So, because it says that -3 is less than or equal to x, we know that x can be -3 itself, and so we have to fill in the circle above the -3, whereas because x has to be less than 4, we know that x can't be 4 itself, and so we leave the circle above the 4 empty. Anyway, that's everything for this video. So hope that all made sense. If it did, then please do give us a like and subscribe, and cheers for watching.